The bathtub water was still warm when I found it, and my laptop sat at the bottom like a corpse. I didn't scream at first. I just stared, frozen, as the bubbles around it went silent, the faint blue light of its charger blinking one last time before dying out completely. That laptop wasn't just a gadget. It was my future, my final project, the one I'd spent 8 months building, coding, designing, everything that could finally pull me out of this house. Behind me, my sister Haley's voice slid like a knife. "Oops," she said, holding a towel around her perfect hair. "You shouldn't leave things near the tub. Some of us actually take care of ourselves." The smirk on her face told me it wasn't an accident. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. I lunged forward, yanked the laptop out. Water poured onto the tile, dripping down my arms, my pajamas, my hope. "You did this," I whispered. "You knew I had to submit it tonight." Haley laughed, an awful, hollow sound. "It's not my fault you're stupid enough to think you'd actually win that internship. Dad says losers just pretend to be victims." She walked out humming, leaving the floor soaked and my heart splitting in half. The deadline was in 3 hours. I ran to the kitchen, clutching the dripping machine, hoping maybe, just maybe, the motherboard hadn't fried. My dad sat at the table with a beer, watching a sports rerun. He looked at me like I was something that crawled out of the drain. "Dad, please," I said, shaking. "She dumped my laptop. I need rice, tools, anything. I need help." He didn't even turn down the volume. "So? Maybe next time you'll keep your junk away from where adults use the bathroom." "Dad, that's not fair." He raised a hand sharply. "Fair? Fair would have been if I'd spent the tuition money on Haley's photography degree instead of wasting it on your nerd projects. You don't get it, kid. Some people were born to succeed. Others," he took a long sip, "should stay where they belong." "Where's Mom?" I asked, desperate. "She's out shopping with Haley. Said she deserves a break before the wedding," he said. Then he chuckled. "And you? Maybe take a break from dreaming." Something inside me cracked. I went to my room and stared at the soaked device. The keys were dead, the ports shorted. Everything I'd built, the software, the research, gone. My code had been my ticket out. The project was supposed to go to the National Review Panel. The winner would get a tech scholarship and a guaranteed job placement. I was finally going to escape this house where I'd been treated like a burden since I turned 18. Now, Haley's laughter still echoed down the hall, mixed with my father's TV commentary. My room smelled like burnt metal. I plugged in the charger one last time. Nothing. I buried my face in my hands and screamed. Hours later, when my submission window closed, I just sat there staring at the time-expired message. I didn't cry anymore. My tears had turned to quiet resolve. When Mom came home, I tried once more. "She destroyed my project," I said. "You can check the bathroom." Mom cut me off. "Haley said you're being dramatic again. You always need attention when she has something good going on." "She ruined my chance at a career." "Career?" Mom scoffed. "Haley's the one getting married, building a life. You sit in that room pretending to be some genius when you can't even keep a job. You think companies want unstable girls?" "I'm not unstable," I snapped. "I'm trying." "Enough," she yelled, voice sharp as glass. "This family's tired of your excuses. You're embarrassing us." I looked between her and Dad, both watching me like I was the problem. Haley appeared at the stairs, grinning. Don't yell at her, Mom. She just needs a little therapy." Mom smirked. "Maybe you're right." They laughed together. That night, I sat awake at my desk, watching my reflection in the dark laptop screen. I remembered being a kid, building cardboard robots with Dad's old tools, before he realized Haley was prettier and easier to brag about. He used to call me his builder. Then one day, he just stopped. I opened my drawer, pulled out a small external drive. My one backup from 2 months ago. Not complete, but something. The thought sparked. Maybe I could still fight back. Maybe not with shouting, but with proof. The next morning, while everyone slept, I went to the bathroom. The water was still in the tub, gray and cold. The smell of soap and burnt circuits hung in the air. I took pictures, every angle, the laptop cord, the charger in the outlet, the position of the tub. Then I filmed myself, describing what happened, calmly, factually. Then I went downstairs and quietly turned on my dad's work computer. He was a manager at a local construction supply firm, the same one that sponsored a community tech scholarship every year, the same scholarship I was competing for. When I checked his email folder, my stomach twisted. My application email had been forwarded to him last week. Haley must have opened it on his account. She had known exactly what I'd been building. She'd read my pitch. She knew it was strong enough to win. I copied every relevant file to my drive, not to expose them yet, but to protect myself. When Haley woke up, she found me sitting calmly at the table. "Morning," she said, fake sweet. I didn't even look up. "You really shouldn't have touched my work." She tilted her head. "What's done is done." I smiled faintly. "That's what you think." The truth was, for the first time, I wasn't scared of them anymore. Something about losing everything made fear disappear. I was just empty. And when you're empty, you can finally plan. That night, when Dad bragged on the phone to his friend about Haley's success, I quietly finished restoring my partial project from the old drive. I had nothing left to lose, and that makes a person dangerous in all the right ways. And as the cursor blinked on my screen, an idea started forming. If Haley thought she'd destroyed my chance forever, she was wrong. Because what she didn't know was that I'd already sent a beta version to one of the judges 2 weeks earlier for feedback, and the judge had loved it. All I needed was proof that Haley sabotaged me, and soon she'd hand me that proof herself. Haley strutted through the kitchen the next morning like nothing had happened, sipping iced coffee while scrolling on her phone. Dad was at the table again, pretending to read the paper. I walked in, dressed in my worn hoodie, laptop bag slung over my shoulder like habit. Except this time, there was no laptop inside, just a plan. I kept my voice calm. "I'm going out. Don't wait up." Dad didn't even look up. "Don't worry, we weren't." Haley smirked. "Try not to drown your next computer, nerd." I walked out without another word. My hands were shaking, but not from fear anymore, from focus. I went straight to the university's computer lab. I knew one of the IT techs there, Mason, who had once stayed late to help me debug my code. He looked surprised when I showed up with my external drive and my story. "Haley dumped it in the tub?" he said, eyes wide. I nodded. "Everything's gone except this backup. It's incomplete, but if I can recompile it, I can at least prove my work." He didn't hesitate. "Let's do it." We spent hours rebuilding from fragments, recovering logs, screenshots, drafts, old emails to professors. My stomach growled, my back hurt, but my determination had a pulse of its own. By evening, Mason grinned. "This is enough. We can show this was your project." I exhaled, dizzy with exhaustion and relief. Then, as if the universe wanted a final twist, I got an email notification from the scholarship board. Subject line, Your application, status inquiry. My heart stopped. I opened it and read, "Dear Danielle, we received an application yesterday from Haley Parker using nearly identical project material to yours. Could you clarify your relationship and whether this was collaborative work?" My hands clenched. She hadn't just destroyed my laptop. She'd stolen the backup submission file I'd sent for feedback. She'd copied my work and submitted it under her name. For a moment, my chest burned so hard I thought I'd scream, but then I realized something. This was perfect. She'd just handed me everything I needed. I wrote back, keeping my tone professional. "Thank you for notifying me. I can confirm this project is solely my original work. I am attaching time-stamped drafts, code logs, and communications with faculty, mentors verifying authorship. Additionally, please note the incident report I am filing with the university's ethics office for plagiarism and property destruction." Then I hit send. Next, I went to the ethics office in person, USB drive in hand. I showed them the email chain, the bathtub photos, the surveillance timestamps from the house security camera that had captured Haley walking upstairs with my laptop. The officer, a stern woman in her 40s, looked disgusted. "If this checks out, she'll be blacklisted from every affiliated program," she said quietly. "And your father encouraged this?" I nodded once. He laughed. She shook her head. "We'll take it from here." By evening, the first ripple hit. Haley's phone started blowing up during her pre-wedding dinner. The scholarship committee had already begun their verification process. They CC'd her university and her fiancé, who had written a glowing recommendation for her work ethic. Her perfect social image cracked like thin glass. Mom called me, voice trembling with anger. "What did you do, Danielle?" I didn't bother to lie. I told the truth. "You ruined your sister's reputation," she snapped. "She ruined her own," I said calmly. "All I did was hit send. Dad tried intimidation next. You think you've won? You've embarrassed this family." I turned my phone camera on him, voice steady. "I think you embarrassed yourselves. The board copied the investigation to your company's sponsor email, didn't they? That's what happens when you help someone commit fraud." There was silence on the other end, then a sharp exhale. Click. Within 2 days, it all unraveled. The scholarship committee disqualified Haley publicly, citing academic misconduct and ethical violations. Her fiancé withdrew their engagement to focus on personal matters. My father's company quietly pulled his name off the sponsorship list, pending review. And me? I got an email from the board. They'd reopened my case. They reviewed my drafts, saw the metadata, the teacher recommendations. One line stood out. "We admire your integrity and determination under pressure. We'd like to offer you a reinstated interview." The next week, I stood in front of the panel, hair pulled back, laptop borrowed, confidence earned. When they asked about what happened, I told them calmly. Some people tried to take credit for my work. I didn't let them. I walked out knowing I'd already won. Not just the scholarship, but the freedom to never look back. That night, I got a message from Haley. "You destroyed me." I typed back one line. "No, Haley. You just finally met someone who stopped letting you win." 2 weeks later, the email came in. "Congratulations, Danielle. We're pleased to inform you that you've been selected for the National Internship Program. Your project ranked in the top 3 submissions." I read it. Twice. 3 times, until my hands started trembling. All the nights I'd spent writing code on a second-hand keyboard, all the humiliation, the screaming, the silence. It finally had meaning. When I walked into the living room to pack my bags, Dad was on the couch, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was low, angry. He hung up fast when he saw me. "Where do you think you're going?" he demanded. I met his eyes, calm. "California. The internship starts Monday." His expression twisted. "You're joking." "No," I said. "I'm leaving this house, and I'm not coming back." Mom appeared in the doorway, wringing her hands. "You can't just walk out after everything we've done for you." I almost laughed. "You mean the beatdowns, the insults, or watching Haley destroy everything I built?" She flinched. "She's still your sister." "Exactly," I said. "And you both raised her to believe destroying others was love." Haley walked in next, pale, exhausted. The mascara under her eyes had dried into black half-moons. "You're happy now?" she hissed. "You ruined my life." I zipped my suitcase. "No, Haley, you ruined mine a long time ago. I just finally stopped letting you." She stepped closer. "You think you're better than us now?" I turned and looked at her, really looked, at the shaking hands, the desperate glare of someone who'd lost the control she'd always counted on. "No," I said softly. "I'm just finally free from you." Dad slammed his beer down. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." I stared at him for a long second, then smiled faintly. "That's the first kind thing you've ever said to me." I picked up my bag and walked out. No tears, no turning back. 2 months later, I was sitting in a glass office overlooking the San Francisco skyline, badge clipped to my shirt with my name beside a company logo I used to dream about. My project had gone viral in the tech community, not because of scandal, but because it was good. One evening, an email popped up. The sender, Haley Parker. Subject, "Please call me." For a moment, I almost deleted it, but curiosity won. I opened it. Mom and Dad lost their house. Dad was fired after the sponsor pulled out. They're saying it's your fault. Please, Danielle, they're begging you to talk to them. I leaned back in my chair, watching the city lights flicker through the glass. For years, they'd told me I was worthless, a burden, a joke, and now they wanted mercy. I typed slowly, each word deliberate. I spent my life begging for understanding. You gave me silence. Now you'll learn how it feels. Then I hit send and closed the laptop. Outside, the fog rolled over the skyline, quiet and clean. I stood up, took a breath, and smiled for the first time in years. They'd taught me to believe losers should stay losers. They were right about one thing. Except this time, it wasn't me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.